You were one of the important part of this initiative, Friends United. How do you came in touch with Rolf and how this developed?
Well, I met Rolf a number of years ago, and throughout those years we began discussing many of the issues that face Nova Scotians and First Nations people. And through Rolf and his initiative, I came to being part of the Friends United, which really is about celebrating Aboriginal First Nations culture here in Nova Scotia, but well beyond the boundaries of that, and bringing people together of all political stripes, of all races, of all nationalities.
You have been involved with this subject when you have been teacher at the beginning of your business work.
I worked in a First Nations school in a community called Chapel Island as a teacher, and then, of course, as a politician, as premier, became very engaged in many issues on a day-to-day basis with other leaders from First Nations communities.
If you just think about, let's say, 5 years or even more, what should be done, what is not so good in the moment, what could be improved?
Well, I think one of the main goals, certainly from my perspective, is to break down some of the barriers that we face in society within Canada, within our own province, and around the world, and to make sure there are more opportunities for self-reliance, so to ensure that people have the greatest opportunity possible. And in this case, our focus is on First Nations people and Aboriginal people. But it goes well beyond that, and that is something that I certainly appreciated throughout this process. That when it was first initiated, Rolf was very clear about his vision, and I share that vision.
Yeah. And do you think the artists in this initiative, for them, is it a good chance just to show the old art and their specific art, and of course not only to show them, but to have a chance to live from that?
Well, in each case, in speaking with one of the artists or taking a look at their particular works, one can truly see their own expression coming out in their paintings. They can see some of the history which have impacted First Nations people throughout Canada in the last hundreds of years, since many of the struggles have happened, and through that I also see, though, in many of these cases, looking towards the future and on a positive light. So there's tends to be, from my perspective, usually a deep religious perspective through the paintings, but also talking about history and talking about the future.
You are talking about the history. It's in a way a difficult history between the native people and especially in the beginning, the British people coming over here. And I heard when I was talking to artists in this center that they are not so very glad, for example, that in Halifax we have still a sculpture of one guy who was not so very friendly, if you say it politely, to the natives, and they don't feel good about that.
Yeah, there are many aspects of history when you take a look back in the last few hundred years that I think that people deeply regret, and certainly when they take a look at it, there were many mistakes made, and that is very unfortunate. And that's very hurtful to many people. And it's really only in the past few decades where a better recognition of this has happened. It's happened at senior levels of government, within our own federal government, and that's important. And the symbol of those types of things, be it an apology by our Prime Minister a couple of years ago, or by other initiatives, is extremely important. And it's not always about dollars and cents. It's about what words are said, what's symbolic of moving forward. and trying to get past some of the pain that exists in many people, in many people, in many communities. And that's what Friends United is about, is getting past that pain and moving forward.
Do you think this could be a symbol, this initiative, for revitalization of the old culture, the language, for example, the faith?
Absolutely. And you mentioned language.
Yeah.
There's an old saying that a culture without a language is a culture without a soul.
That's right.
And First Nations culture is no different, and all cultures. And many of individuals that I've spoken to in communities want to see the language of their communities celebrated and recognized, and the culture of their communities recognized and showcased for the world. And this is an opportunity for them to have pride in their work, to showcase the talent they have. These are world-class artists, and this is the opportunity for them to be recognized.
Yeah. If you look in the future, let's say 5-10 years, and if you had the chance just to change things, might happen like this, what should be changed on what are the items for the future to improve the situation of First Nations people?
Well, I think to give people the opportunity to be more self-reliant, to give them more opportunity to be able to earn not only a reasonable income, but a good, solid income, for them to have the ability to feel pride in themselves, and to get past the hurt, as I said, because you don't get over the hurt overnight.
Yeah, that's right.
It takes many years. And not only that, but for all cultures to celebrate our First Nations culture within our country and around the world, and also to get past the issue of racism, which is still there today. I think we've come a long way in the last 100 years, in the last 25 years, but we still have a long way to go.
And what Rolf is doing here, it's a good part of this.
Oh, it's Rolf is the anchor behind Friends United. He's he is the cornerstone of this. Without him, without what he has done with respect to resources towards this, it wouldn't be possible. And because of Rolf and people like Rolf, we can see things like this that truly do make a difference, and showcase what is a tremendous project to the rest of the world.